for me, a person who feels comfortable lying is a dangerous person. Like if you
Oh,
don't
for
lose no
sure.
sleep and you feel no type of guilt or like wrestling or torment like behind you after the fact, like you told the lie to not experience whatever the thing is
Yeah.
that you think is going to be so painful for you, but like if that's easier than experiencing it, to me it's like there's something
What's
else
going
going on
on?
with you, right? Where this is like
100%.
your comfort, your blanket of safety and warmth and peace is
Yeah.
through telling lies. Like to me, we got to deal with some other issues, because if it's just like I don't want to be someone disappointed in me, so I'm gonna lie. Like again, you're giving it too much power, because the pain of letting somebody down should not be greater than the pain of living with yourself and
Yeah.
this inauthenticity, like just
Yeah.
this ease of not telling the truth.
Yeah.
But a lot of it does come back to shame,
Yeah.
I think.
No, I totally agree with that.
Shame and just not being okay with yourself,
Mhm.
and or believing that someone else isn't going to be okay with you, and
Mhm.
so you want to avoid that. And shame is a very
Very
powerful
powerful.
emotion, a very unpleasant emotion. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
sometimes people may go out of their way to avoid experiencing shame.
Yeah.
Um, so, yeah.
Because shame
So, just,
causes you to hide, right? So
right.
if it causes you to hide,
Yep.
and so I can be so in fear of shame that I'm already hiding just to avoid having
Hmm.
to hide, you know? So
Right.
like which is where the lie comes in.
Yeah. And I think pretty much most everybody has been there where you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want nobody to find
I don't
out
want nobody
about
to
this.
notice.
Right. Going to your grave with that. Right. But it
Yeah.
is something that you have to carry, because once you tell that
Yeah.
lie, you got to keep it up. You got to maintain the lie.
Or you have to allow pride to fall down and sit in a place of vulnerability, which I feel like is a way to overcome, you know, dishonesty or whatever, is to learn how to live in discomfort,
Hmm.
right? Like,
Yeah. Okay. So you stepping ahead to the to how to get better, kind of, which we'll come back
yeah,
around to. So
yeah,
just keep that note. As far as falling, letting pride fall. I'm
yeah,
just gonna name a couple more reasons why, like the
yeah.
barriers too, and then we'll come back to it. Um, on how to get better. Like two other, like I think big reasons that people might lie,
Mm-hmm.
that happen more often than I would say most reasons, is selfishness and greed.
Ooh,
So along with being in a culture where lying is permissible, right? We live in a culture where people being selfish and greedy is also permissible, or and even celebrated sometimes. And so it's like,
yeah,
if I'm selfish to where I want to get everything I can get for myself, then I may have to tell a few lies to obtain
yeah. To
that.
get there. Yep.
And then the greed sometimes, a lot of times, goes hand in hand with it, right? I want as much money as I can possibly have. And so I am willing to do whatever to get it. Or it may not even just be money. People who have experienced infidelity,
Mm-hmm.
where a lot of this honesty piece comes from in relationship, is because someone's being greedy. I want as
Yeah,
many partners, or sexual
yeah,
partners as I can have. And so I'm going to lie to get it. And so
yeah,
all of that is a root. Like if I'm a selfish person or if I'm a greedy person, the only way for me to, most people don't obtain a lot of something by telling the truth. They have to
right.
find a way to manipulate so that they can get something that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten. That's why you got scammers, and that's why you have fraud departments at every major like
Yeah,
banking institution and corporation, is because people don't obtain a lot necessarily by honest means. Now, some people
oh,
do.
that's
People
good.
who have integrity, there are people who
Yeah,
have become very
but it's
successful.
harder.
It is
It can be
harder, yeah,
harder.
because everybody doesn't like the truth. And so
Yeah,
sometimes they get more people to like you and to come to you and be willing to invest in you and give you something. You cannot
yeah,
always be honest. And so
yeah.
people will find a way to kind of go around and manipulate so they can get that. So, yeah, we want to get better at it.